Hey there, deep divers. Ever thought about a career where, you're not just poolside, but actually, shaping the next generation of lifesavers?
Hmm.
Buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of lifeguard instructors. And trust me, it's way more than just a summer gig. We've got our trusty career guide, Lifeguard Instructor, right here,
Yeah.
along with some insights on how RoleCatcher can help you make a splash in this field.
And it's a deeper dive than you might expect. This
Wow.
isn't just about teaching kids to do like a mean doggy paddle.
You're telling me. This guide goes way beyond the basics. We're talking in-depth rescue techniques, first aid that goes beyond Band-Aids.
Right.
And get this, even the legal protocols of lifeguarding.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this role blends so many different skills. Like on the
Yeah.
one hand, you're dealing with people who might be afraid of the water.
Hmm.
So that customer service aspect, that ability to, put people at ease is crucial. But then on the flip side, you're instilling the seriousness of public safety, literally teaching skills that could save a life.
Speaking of saving lives, this guide does not sugarcoat the high responsibility part of the job.
Yeah.
It actually describes a scenario where an instructor's training directly impacted a life or death rescue. Imagine having that kind of impact. That's both incredibly inspiring and a lot to carry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the kind of responsibility that stays with you even after you clock out. It's not about looking glamorous by the pool. It's about knowing your work has, real world consequences.
Now, that's what I call making a difference. And here's where it gets really interesting, the work environment. I always pictured instructors stuck indoors, but this guide says they're just as likely to be teaching rescue dives on a sunny beach.
Talk about an office with a view.
Right.
And speaking of views, the career outlook for lifeguard instructors is actually looking pretty bright. The guide mentions a growing demand for lifeguards, which makes sense with, I think, more people emphasizing water safety these days.
That's great news for anyone considering this career path.
Yeah.
But hold on a sec. The guide also mentions that in some places, it's mostly seasonal work.
Yeah.
That's something to think about if you're looking for, year-round stability.
Definitely a factor to consider. But let's say you're hooked on the idea of shaping future lifesavers. You might be wondering, what does the path to becoming a lifeguard instructor even look like?
Well, RoleCatcher has a handy career guide that breaks down the steps. And surprise, surprise, you can't just jump in the deep end right away. You need real-world experience as a lifeguard first.
Makes sense, right? You can't teach someone to handle a rip current if you haven't experienced one yourself. That firsthand knowledge, it builds credibility and confidence.
Totally. But the learning doesn't stop there.
Right.
The guide emphasizes continuous education conferences, workshops, staying updated on the latest techniques.
And that's where RoleCatcher's networking features come in handy. Imagine connecting with experienced instructors from across the country, maybe even attending like a national lifeguarding conference.
Hold on. Are you saying there are conferences for lifeguards? Is there a swimsuit fashion show involved? I'm picturing something like, I don't know, Comic-Con, but for lifesavers.
Well, I can't promise a fashion show, but you'll definitely find passionate professionals, geeking out over the latest rescue boards. And yes, networking at these events can lead to mentorship opportunities, collaborations, even job offers.
Okay, networking at a lifeguard conference while soaking up some sun and knowledge?
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's a reminder that even in a profession focused on individual skills, the community aspect is huge. But let's dive back into that career progression. RoleCatcher outlines different stages from, trainee to junior instructor all the way up to senior instructor.
Dude, you're not just stuck teaching basic CPR forever. You can level up your career, kind of like in a video game.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You start by assisting more experienced instructors. Then you're leading your own program, and eventually you might even be overseeing training for an entire organization.
Wow. So you could go from teaching someone to tread water to consulting with, a giant water park on their emergency protocols. That's a pretty impressive career trajectory.
It is, and as you progress, you'll need more than just, strong swimming skills. Think leadership, communication, problem solving.
Right.
These are assets in any profession, but they're crucial for lifeguard instructors.
So it's almost like this job prepares you for leadership roles in like all aspects of life, not just at the pool.
Precisely. And speaking of preparation, let's talk about how RoleCatcher helps you land those awesome opportunities. I mean, we've all been there, sending out resumes into the abyss, hoping for the best.
Oh, tell me about it. It's the black hole of job hunting.
Right.
But RoleCatcher tries to change the game. They have this feature where employers actively search for candidates with your specific skills.
It's like a dating app, but for your career.
Right.
Instead of hoping your resume gets noticed, you're basically raising your hand and saying, hey, I've got the skills you need.
Okay, I love that analogy. So no more waiting for Prince Charming, or in this case, the perfect job to magically appear. RoleCatcher helps you put yourself out there.
Exactly. It's about taking charge of your career destiny. And the best part, RoleCatcher helps you tailor your resume and cover letter to highlight the skills that matter most for each specific role. They even have, get this, AI-powered suggestions to make your application stand out.
It's like having a personal career coach, but without the awkward pep talks. Now, let's not forget about the elephant in the room. Or maybe I should say the shark in the pool.
Oh, you mean the challenges?
Exactly. We've talked about the sunshine and rainbows of being a lifeguard instructor. But let's get real. This job definitely comes with its share of tough stuff.
You're right. It's not all pool parties and high fives. This is a physically and emotionally demanding job. You're on your feet for hours, demonstrating techniques in and out of the water, and constantly alert for, any signs of trouble.
Not to mention the emotional roller coaster. You're responsible for the safety of your students, and that can be a lot to handle, especially if you're working with, like, young or inexperienced swimmers. Imagine the weight of knowing your actions could literally mean the difference between life and death.
It takes a special kind of person to handle that kind of pressure with grace and composure.
Absolutely. So how do you know if you're cut out for this? What does it take to not just survive, but thrive as a lifeguard instructor?
That's a fantastic question, and one we'll dive into right after this quick break.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm already feeling the weight of responsibility we just talked about. It takes a special kind of person to handle the pressure and emotional demands of being a lifeguard instructor.
Absolutely. And it's not just about having, nerves of steel. Remember that section in the guide about knowledge and learning? It emphasizes that being a lifeguard instructor isn't about memorizing a manual. It's about staying ahead of the curve.
Which makes total sense. Water safety techniques are always evolving, right?
Yeah.
New equipment comes out, and even our understanding of how the human body reacts in the water is like constantly being refined.
Exactly. And that loops back to the importance of networking and continuous learning. Those conferences and workshops we talked about, they aren't just about gathering information. They're about exchanging ideas and learning from each other's experiences.
So you might pick up a life-saving tip from like a veteran instructor in, say, California, while you're presenting your research on RIP, current rescue techniques from your experience on the Florida coast.
Exactly. It's a beautiful cycle of shared knowledge and passion. And speaking of passion, let's talk about the different ways you can specialize as a lifeguard instructor. This is where things get really exciting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Because I have to admit, I hadn't thought much beyond like the whole teaching people to swim thing. What kind of specializations are we talking about?
Well, think about the variety within the field itself. You could specialize in, training open water rescue teams, which requires a whole different skill set than teaching basic water safety in a pool. Or maybe you're passionate about making swimming accessible to everyone. The guide mentions adaptive swimming, which focuses on teaching people with disabilities.
Wow, I hadn't considered that. But it makes so much sense. It highlights the profound impact this career can have.
Absolutely. And if management and leadership are more your speed, you could even specialize in developing training curriculums for entire organizations.
So you could go from teaching someone to do a proper backstroke to designing a comprehensive water safety program for like a cruise line or a resort chain.
Exactly. And as you climb that career ladder, leadership and management skills become increasingly important. It's no longer just about your own teaching abilities. It's about ensuring the quality and consistency of training across an entire team or organization.
That's a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of potential for growth.
Yeah.
It seems like a lifeguard instructor's role has a lot in common with traditional education, wouldn't you say?
There are definitely parallels. Think about it. A senior lifeguard instructor might have responsibilities similar to a school principal. They could be overseeing curriculum development, managing instructor certifications, even handling budgets and resource allocation. It's a dynamic blend of hands-on teaching and strategic decision-making.
So in a way, it's like A hybrid career combining the physicality of coaching with the mental demands of, like, management. But let's circle back to RoleCatcher for a sec. We've talked about their interview prep, but you mentioned they actually help you land the job too, right?
Absolutely. Remember how we talked about sending out resumes into the void? RoleCatcher tries to flip that script. They have this feature that allows you to be discovered by employers who are actively seeking candidates with your specific skills.
Wait, so instead of me, like, desperately trying to catch the attention of a hiring manager, they're actually seeking out people like me.
Precisely. It's about making those valuable connections. Think of it as like a matchmaking service, but for your career.
Okay, I am loving these analogies. So instead of waiting for that fairy tale job offer, RoleCatcher is playing Cupid, shooting arrows of opportunity my way.
Exactly. You're no longer passively waiting for opportunities. You're proactively making yourself visible to potential employers who are already interested in what you bring to the table.
Game changer. And it sounds like RoleCatcher doesn't just leave you hanging after you've made the connection.
Yeah.
You mentioned they help you tailor your resume and cover letter, too.
Absolutely. They'll analyze job descriptions and highlight the skills that are most important for that specific role. They even offer AI-powered suggestions to help you craft the most compelling narrative for your application.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. It's like having a secret weapon in the, like, often intimidating world of job hunting. But let's be real for a moment. Even with the best tools in preparation, every job has its downsides. We've talked about the rewarding aspects of being a lifeguard instructor, but what about the challenges? The guide doesn't sugarcoat those, does it?
It doesn't. And we'd be remiss if we didn't address the demanding nature of this profession, both physically and emotionally. It's not all sunshine and saving lives, right?
Yeah.
There are long hours, potential for, difficult situations, and the ever-present weight of responsibility for your students' safety.
So let's unpack that a bit.
Right. Let's talk about the realities of this career path after this short break.
Okay, so we're back and, like, ready to dive into the deep end of the challenges that come with being a lifeguard instructor. It's not all smooth sailing, right?
Right. It's physically demanding for one. You're on your feet for hours, often in the sun, demonstrating techniques, hauling equipment, maybe even like fishing someone out of the pool. You need stamina.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't really considered the physicality of it all.
Yeah.
It's not just standing around looking authoritative. It's, active and engaging.
Exactly. And then there's the emotional side, You're responsible for the well-being of your students, some of whom might be like terrified of the water. It takes a special blend of patience and, firmness to coach someone through that fear.
And as we've discussed, like, in a worst-case scenario, there's the potential of a real emergency.
Right.
You could be responsible for putting your training into action to, save a life. That's a lot of pressure.
It is. And even if a true emergency never arises, there's the daily responsibility of, instilling these life-saving skills in your students. You're not just teaching them to swim, you're teaching them to make like split-second decisions under pressure.
So it's clear that this career path isn't for the faint of heart.
Mhm.
What would you say are some of the, like, key qualities that help someone not just survive, but, thrive as a lifeguard instructor?
Well, we've touched on a few already. Physical stamina, emotional resilience, and a knack for, staying calm under pressure. But beyond that, I'd say a true passion for water safety is essential.
That makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone, like, excelling in this role if they don't genuinely care about preventing drownings and, keeping people safe around water.
Exactly. It's that passion that will fuel your desire to stay updated on the latest techniques, engage with the lifeguard community, and inspire your students to take water safety seriously.
So it's more of a calling than, like, just a job.
I think that's a great way to put it. You're not just clocking in and out, you're becoming part of something bigger, a community dedicated to, protecting lives. And that can be incredibly rewarding, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely. Now, for those deep divers out there who are feeling that call, who are ready to dive into the world of lifeguard instruction, any final words of wisdom?
Well, I think the career guide sums it up perfectly. This job is equal parts demanding and rewarding. You'll be challenged physically, mentally, and emotionally, but the impact you can have is immeasurable. If you're drawn to a career that's active, engaging, and makes a real difference in the world, then this might just be the perfect fit for you.
I love that. It's a career path that allows you to make a splash in more ways than one.
Exactly. And who knows, you might just inspire the next generation of lifesavers.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive into the world of lifeguard instructors. We've explored the ins and outs of this demanding yet rewarding career path, from the, like, technical skills and responsibilities to the personal qualities that set exceptional instructors apart.
We've also highlighted how tools like RoleCatcher can help you navigate your journey from acing those crucial interviews to, finding your dream opportunity in this dynamic field.
Remember, deep divers, knowledge is power. The more you know about your chosen career path, the better equipped you'll be to, make waves and achieve your goals. So until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.